This all started this morning when a woman was shot and killed on Lincoln Avenue in Springfield Township. Police say the suspect died after a pursuit and a shooting involving police.
This is 911. Do you have an emergency?
Yes, someone's dead. She got shot.
She got shot in the head?
Yes, with bullets.
They say love can be a double-edged sword, capable of healing, but also of destroying. But on a quiet November morning in Springfield Township, Ohio, that blade struck twice, leaving two lifeless bodies and their families short of answers. This is the story of Lacresia Black, her unstable relationship, and the deadly unraveling of secrets that turned a home into a crime scene and a highway into the site of a final stand. What happened that morning didn't just end lives, it shattered the fantasies of love and exposed the depths of desperation.
Early morning shooting in Springfield Township, leaving a person dead.
Now, we've been following this case closely and just got an update from
In the calm morning hours of November 18th, 2024, Springfield Township, Ohio, was lit by the first light of day. As the neighborhood on Lincoln Avenue began to wake, the peace was suddenly broken by the sound of gunfire. It was around 7 a.m. when the piercing sounds of bullets jolted residents from their morning routines, prompting frantic calls to the police.
Springfield Township police say just after 7 a.m., they got a call for a person shot at an apartment complex along Lincoln Avenue. Officers found 33-year-old Lacresia Black shot and lying outside the front door of her apartment. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say they believe the person who was behind the trigger to be 42-year-old Terea Brown, who they say drove off to Clinton County, Indiana, where she allegedly got into a police chase with Indiana.
When officers arrived on the scene, they were met with a grim sight. Lying outside the front door of her residence was 33-year-old Lacresia Black. Her lifeless body bore multiple gunshot wounds, a stark testament to the violence that had unfolded moments earlier. The sight of Black's body, laid out on the ground, sent shockwaves through the community. Paramedics pronounced her dead at the scene, marking the tragic end of a young life. Lacresia Black was known in her community as a kind, hard-working, and ambitious woman. Born and raised in Springfield Township, she attended the local schools and quickly became a standout student. Her determination and resilience were evident from a young age, as she often balanced school with part-time jobs to help her family make ends meet. Friends and neighbors recall her as someone who always carried a warm smile and extended a helping hand to those in need. After graduating high school, Lacresia pursued her passion for caregiving. She worked as a home health aide, dedicating her life to helping the elderly and individuals with disabilities. Her clients and their families often spoke highly of her compassion and patience, qualities that made her exceptional in her field. She was known to go above and beyond, usually running errands or spending extra time with her clients to ensure they felt cared for and valued. Lacresia's dedication to her work was matched only by her love for her family and friends. She was a pillar of support for those around her, often serving as a confidant and advisor to friends facing challenges. Her home was a gathering place for family events and celebrations, where her latter and vibrant personality filled the room. Despite the demands of her work, she always found time to connect with loved ones, making everyone feel special and appreciated. In addition to her caregiving work, Lacresia had dreams of furthering her education. She aspired to become a licensed practical nurse, LPN, a goal she had been steadily working toward in the years leading up to her death. Her co-workers and friends often remarked on her determination to improve her skills and make an even more significant impact in her field. She had enrolled in evening classes at a nearby community college, balancing her studies with her full-time job and personal commitments. Lacresia's dedication to self-improvement and her unwavering commitment to others made her a beloved figure in Springfield Township. Her sudden and tragic death left a void in the lives of all who knew her. The community's grief was compounded by the knowledge that her life had been cut short just as she was beginning to achieve her dreams. As the investigation began, detectives quickly identified a suspect, 42-year-old Terea Denise Brown, Lacresia's spouse. The two women had been married since December 2023, but their relationship was far from harmonious. Described by friends and acquaintances as on and off, their union was marred by frequent arguments and underlying tension. The tumultuous dynamic between the couple painted a picture of a relationship fraught with unresolved issues. Terea Denise Brown, 42, was described by acquaintances as a complex individual with a history revealing struggles and resilience. Born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, Brown's life was marked by moments of both opportunity and hardship. Friends and former co-workers recounted her as intelligent and driven, yet occasionally prone to emotional outbursts. Brown had a varied professional background, having worked in retail management and customer service for several years. Those who worked with her described her as meticulous and goal-oriented, capable of leading teams effectively. However, she faced challenges maintaining long-term stability in her roles, often leaving jobs abruptly due to interpersonal conflicts or stress. This pattern, acquaintances noted, seemed to reflect a more profound struggle with managing emotional pressures. In her personal life, Brown's relationships were marked by turbulence. Friends described her as someone who deeply craved connection, but often struggled to navigate the complexities of romantic partnerships. Her marriage to Lacresia Black was no exception. Those close to the couple frequently observed their union's passionate yet unstable nature. While moments of affection and mutual support were evident, arguments and misunderstandings often overshadowed their relationship. Despite these challenges, Brown was known to have a nurturing side. She enjoyed gardening and often spoke about her love for nature. Close friends recounted her enthusiasm for tending to plants and spending time outdoors to find peace amid life's chaos. However, this serene side of her personality often clashed with the emotional turmoil she carried, creating a duality that was difficult for many to reconcile. The days leading up to the tragic events of November 18, 2024, were reportedly fraught with tension. Neighbors noted increased arguments at the home the couple shared, and friends expressed concerns about the mounting stress in their relationship. While the exact details of the circumstances that led to the fatal confrontation remain unclear, those who knew Terea Denise Brown described her as someone struggling to balance her internal conflicts with her desire for stability and love. The possible motive behind the crime appeared to stem from the turbulent and volatile nature of the relationship between Lacresia Black and Terea Denise Brown. Friends and neighbors described frequent arguments and heightened tension between the couple in the weeks leading up to the tragedy. Some close to the couple speculated that underlying feelings of jealousy, mistrust, and unresolved conflicts had reached a breaking point. While Brown's emotional struggles and impulsive tendencies were well documented by those who knew her, it remains unclear what specific incident or trigger led to the escalation of violence on that fateful morning. According to witnesses and initial reports, Brown fled the scene shortly after the shooting. Driving a dark-colored 2014 Chevrolet Cruze, she vanished before law enforcement could arrive. A regional broadcast was swiftly issued, providing Brown's description and details about her vehicle. Authorities feared that a dangerous and desperate individual was on the run, armed and unpredictable. Approximately 2.5 hours later, around 9:30 a.m., Brown's vehicle was spotted by Indiana State Police, ISP troopers. She had traveled roughly 150 miles from the crime scene and was now on Interstate 65 in Clinton County, Indiana. When troopers attempted to pull her over, Brown chose to flee once again, sparking a high-speed pursuit that wound through the rural roads of Indiana. The chase came to a dramatic and tragic end near State Route 28. Brown exited the interstate and stopped her vehicle on a desolate county road. Moments later, a gunshot rang out from inside the car. Troopers, responding to the perceived threat, discharged their weapons. When the chaos subsided, Brown was found dead. A firearm was recovered from her car, providing further evidence of her involvement in the earlier shooting. Back in Springfield Township, the community struggled to cope with the two deaths. Neighbors who had lived alongside the couple, Black and Brown, struggled to comprehend the violent events that had unfolded in their otherwise peaceful neighborhood. Linda Sales, a resident whose home bore the marks of the violence, a bullet hole in her window, spoke of her shock and relief that her grandchildren had not been present during the incident.
All the assistance from the surrounding agencies.
No troopers were injured. Meanwhile, neighbors in Springfield Township are left shaken by the news.
Shocked, surprised. It don't happen up here.
And now grieving this sudden loss and the horrific events that followed.
Now, police have not said how the victim or the suspect knew each other, but they are asking anyone with information on either incident here in Ohio or in Indiana to come forward. Live tonight, Lindsay Stone, WWT News 5.
The randomness of the danger brought the violence even closer to home for many. Law enforcement has not disclosed any definitive evidence pointing to a singular motive. Still, the pattern of domestic conflict observed in the couple's relationship suggests that this was the culmination of long-standing issues. Investigators continue to piece together the events leading up to the murder, interviewing friends, family, and neighbors to better understand the dynamics that contributed to the tragedy. The ongoing investigation seeks to clarify whether there were any immediate triggers or circumstances that exacerbated the already strained relationship. As news of the murder and subsequent pursuit spread, friends and family of Lacresia Black gathered to mourn her loss. They held a balloon release in an emotional tribute to honor her memory. The colorful balloons drifting into the sky symbolized not only their grief, but also their love for a woman whose life had been cut short. The vigil was an essential reminder of the human cost of domestic violence and the lasting impact it leaves on those who remain. In the days following the tragedy, reports began to surface about the relationship between Lacresia Black and Terea Brown. Those who knew Black and Brown spoke of a history of conflict. Arguments were frequent, and their relationship was often described as unstable. This unstable relationship provided a chilling backdrop to the events of November 18th. A Facebook post from someone reportedly close to the victim, Lacresia Black, surfaced later, painting her killer, Terea Brown, as a coward and narcissist, shedding further light on their toxic relationship. Further insight into the incident came from the 911 call that initially alerted authorities. The call was made by a man who identified himself as Black's caretaker. He described seeing the shooter, later identified as Brown, at the residence before but admitted he did not know her name. His testimony underscored the familiarity between the victim and the perpetrator, adding another layer of complexity to the case. After the tragedy, law enforcement agencies from Ohio and Indiana launched thorough investigations. The Springfield Township Police Department, working alongside the Indiana State Police Criminal Investigation Division, sought to piece together the complete sequence of events. They appealed to the public for information, urging anyone with knowledge of the case to come forward. As the investigations continued, the community of Springfield Township grappled with the emotional aftermath. The tragedy left an indelible mark on those who knew the couple and those who were simply bystanders to the violence. The November 18, 2024, events underscored how fragile life is and the devastating impact of domestic turmoil. Domestic violence is often a silent epidemic, hidden behind closed doors. Friends and neighbors may notice warning signs but are unsure how to intervene. In the case of Black and Brown, their tumultuous relationship was an open secret among those who knew them. Yet, despite the frequent arguments and visible tension, the fatal escalation on that November morning still shocked many. The aftermath of the incident has reignited calls for stronger community support networks and better access to mental health resources. Advocates stress that addressing the root causes of domestic violence requires a multifaceted approach. Education, outreach, and systemic change are all necessary components of a comprehensive solution. As the community continues to mourn, the balloon release for Lacresia Black has taken on a deeper significance. It was a moment of collective grief and remembrance for those who loved her. The story of Lacresia Black and Terea Denise Brown also sheds light on the challenges law enforcement faces in responding to domestic violence situations. Officers are often called into volatile and unpredictable circumstances where emotions run high and the potential for violence is significant. The events of November 18th serve as a somber reminder of the stakes involved in these cases and the critical need for resources and training to handle them effectively. Meanwhile, the investigation into the events of November 18th remains active. Law enforcement officials are determined to uncover every detail, ensuring that the community and the families involved clearly understand what transpired. While many questions have been answered, others linger, leaving a sense of unfinished business that weighs heavily on those affected. Through the grief and shock, one message emerges with clarity: the importance of recognizing the signs of domestic violence and taking steps to address it before it escalates. Though tragic, the story of Lacresia Black and Terea Denise Brown serves as a call to action for communities to support those in need and work toward preventing such tragedies in the future. For the families and friends of both Lacresia Black and Terea Denise Brown, the pain of this tragedy is immeasurable. In their grief, they have become advocates for change, determined to ensure that no one else has to endure a similar loss. Their voices have added a deeply personal dimension to the broader conversation, reminding everyone that behind the statistics and policy debates are real people with stories that matter. As Springfield Township continues to heal, our hearts go out to the family of Lacresia Black. We hope that her memory serves as a powerful reminder of the need for vigilance, compassion, and action in the face of domestic violence. Her story, though tragic, has the potential to inspire a movement that saves lives and fosters a safer, more compassionate society for all. May her soul rest in peace. Thank you for watching. If you found this story meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more cases that uncover the truths behind the tragedies.